All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming on our team call tonight on this holiday weekend. So you guys are super committed. I know at least some of you are on vacation right now. So I totally appreciate your time away from family. I'll try to make this really quick as possible. We are going to be talking tonight about the ultimate reset. So how many of you guys, and I already think I know just by looking at the screen, how many of you guys, by raise of hands, have done the ultimate reset before? Jilliet? Sasha, I thought you had. Danae, you have, right? What? Really? It's me and Jilliet. So I see Leona. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's just the two of us. Well, cool. Then you guys are definitely going to have some value tonight in tonight's call. Leona, welcome. We have a very small holiday group of women only. This is a small. I don't think we've had a team call this small in years. All right. So let's talk about the ultimate reset. What is it? Why would you want to do it? And I'm just going to sort of share my two experiences with the ultimate reset, and then maybe Jilliet, if she's able, can chime in too, and then you guys can kind of pick our brains. And then I know Sasha and Danae and myself and Kristen, and I feel like maybe one other, Shannon Holding, are all interested. Well, we're all committing to doing it in September. So when I first became a coach, I tried to do the ultimate reset, and I had a little challenge group of a couple of women, and you guys, I just didn't plan well, and I didn't know about the program. I didn't understand what all it entailed, and I just, frankly, maybe I didn't have the willpower or wasn't in the right frame of mind, and I literally failed. By the end of that program, I was just sort of doing a little bit of the meals and a little bit not. I'd actually given up on trying to take the supplements because I felt like I'd missed so many of them. And I felt like a total fraud because the couple of women in my challenge group that were paying customers, they were doing it. And here I was the coach, and the coach fell off the bandwagon. It was a huge blow to my, not just my ego, but my sense of confidence as a coach. And I kind of had my tail tucked between my legs for a couple of years after that about the ultimate reset. And when it would come up in conversation, oh, yay, we have a guy. Yay, Mark. We're like, where's all the dudes? When the ultimate reset would come up in conversation, I would just sort of want to shuffle my feet and look at the floor. So really quickly, Leona and Mark, have you guys done the ultimate reset? Yes and yes. Okay, cool. So I knew I needed to tackle it again. And so a year ago in September, so last fall, I decided to do it again. And I was afraid of failing. But also I was more determined than ever not to fail, because I was I don't want to feel this way again. I wasn't able to do this program. I'm going to do it again. So let me tell you a little bit about what it is, and then I'm going to tell you about my second experience where I really championed the ultimate reset. And it really did dramatically change me. So it is a cleanse from the inside out. It comes in a box like this. And I'll take that apart for you guys in a second. And it's a 3-phase system. The first phase is reclaim. The second phase is release. And the third phase is restore. And it's designed to give someone a deep health transformation. It was created by Darren O'Lean and Isabel Deichler, Carl's wife. And the two of them are the co-creators of Shakeology. So things that they say about the ultimate reset is that it's designed to help improve our energy levels, improve our digestion, help clear our skin, and give us a greater sense of awareness in our state of mind. They talk about the fact that there's so many chemical pollutants out there, toxins in our water, chemicals we can't even pronounce in our foods, and pollution in the water and in the air. It is not a starvation diet at all. In fact, there were times where I was hungry, and I'm going to talk about that, really hungry, and struggled with that. And there were times where I had way more than I even could eat. So now I just want to tell you like what it did, what I noticed about it. And when I'm finished going through what the Ultimate Reset is and how it all works, I would be curious to hear if Jen and Leona and Mark, what they have to say about it. But I started dreaming, and I don't mean figuratively, I mean literally. Like literally the quality of my sleep changed to the point where I was like having vivid dreams, which is unusual for me. It changed my it made me a more grateful person, and gratitude just in life became an important piece of me, like it wasn't before the Ultimate Reset. And maybe that'll make more sense as I talk a little bit more about the program. But gratitude took kind of a core role in my day-to-day. After going through the reset, I was able to kind of be still and be uncomfortable with things like hunger, with boredom, with restlessness. A lot of the reasons that I eat have nothing to do with food. I eat because I'm tired. I eat because I'm bored. I eat because I'm anxious. I often eat, you guys, because I don't want to do the next thing on my to-do list. And it's just like a little way to procrastinate is to go get a snack. So I eat for a lot of the wrong reasons. And the Ultimate Reset doesn't allow for that kind of nonsense. And so if I were to eat because I'm anxious, or bored or tired, let's say anxious, and I'm not allowed to do that. I have to sit with the anxiety. I have to sit with it. And that's not easy. And it reminds me, in preparing for this and in thinking about that, it reminded me of my roommate at the Coeur de Force Master Trainer Boot Camp recently was Ashley Buchert. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she was telling me about a 200-hour yoga training that she went through this company called, I don't remember what it was called. It wasn't Yoga Alliance, but in any case, she said that one of the things that she had to do is you just had to sit still, to the point of like, if you had a little tiny itch, you couldn't scratch it. If you wanted to shift your weight, you couldn't shift your weight. And she learned a lot of lessons in that. And I was thinking about her telling me that recently when I was thinking about how with the Ultimate Reset, I just had to sit with it. I was anxious. If I'm not going to go eat because it's not part of the Ultimate Reset plan at that time, then I need to figure out something else to do with that anxiety, like pray or something else. So not in my case, but from other people that I know for a fact swear that they got pregnant doing the Ultimate Reset. Two women, they swear that it made them more fertile. They swear by it. 2 testimonies came in to me when I was around the time I was doing the reset. They're like, watch out, you'll get pregnant on the reset, watch out. Weight loss, I had considerable weight loss, which I'll show you because I'm going to show you some of my slides from the food that I prepared during that time. It made me a conscious eater. So I don't know, I'm sure you guys can relate to at least some of what I'm saying. I think a lot of times we eat unconsciously. when I was, I talk not very often, but enough that probably all of you guys know that I used to have an eating disorder many years ago, like 2 decades ago. And I was hospitalized for 5 months, and I did work with a nutritionist, and they gave me some really great tips that I still like apply today. Like if you're going to eat something that is, let's say grapes, let's say you've got this big bag of grapes and you're going to have grapes. They say, take how much you want to eat, take a portion off, put the bag away, put it on a plate, sit down and eat it. As opposed to like the opposite would be if you don't break away the portion. Like let's say it's, I don't know, I don't eat like chips out of a bag, but like let's say chips out of a bag. Let's say it's chips. You know, you take the portion and you eat the portion rather than you sit there and continue, or a container of Greek yogurt, whatever it is, that you separate, you put it away, you sit, and you consciously eat it. Think about people eating mindlessly while they're watching, like, have you guys gone to a movie theater lately and there's like people eating popcorn? They're eating those like trans fats and they're not even like aware that they're just like on autopilot because they're like watching the movie. And it's so unhealthy, but it's also so normal. I know that like I've made myself like a really good sandwich before, and I've sat down to eat it, and then I get a phone call from a friend, and I'm like, you know, talking to my friend, and then I get off the phone, and I'm like, wait, where's my sandwich? Where'd my sandwich go? Where'd it go? I didn't eat it. It's gone. But I didn't even enjoy it. I didn't take it. It was not conscious eating. So the ultimate reset, it changes your relationship with food. It makes you a conscious eater. You have to like chew your food so slowly. I can't remember if it's 20 chews per bite. I think it's 20 times you have to chew each bite. You set your fork down between bites. I mean, it just changes your relationship with food. Okay. So it helped me create new habits. Like at the time, and I've kind of shifted back to the way I was. But at the time I was eating a lot at night. And in the morning, like this morning, I didn't sleep well last night because my husband got home at 1:30 and I had to get up early to teach Insanity. And I promise I showered. And this is like a different Insanity shirt, I swear. It's just a coincidence that I put on another Insanity shirt. But I didn't sleep well. So I got up and I wasn't hungry. And it's hard to have food in your stomach and do Insanity. So I didn't have breakfast today. And then, so anyway, that's like, and actually like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those days it's hard for me. So anyway, I tend to eat a lot at night and overeat at night. So the ultimate reset changes that so that like your king meal is breakfast. And then you have basically a big salad with nuts. You basically have a big salad for lunch. And then you barely have much at all for dinner. And I was like going to bed, like, I'm hungry. I'm going to, but I wasn't. I just wasn't stuffed. I wasn't going to bed like full, which is my normal. And then I would wake up, you guys, hungry for fuel and for breakfast. Okay, I got to speed this along really quickly. The recipes in there, they are absolutely like the foods that I shopped for. It exposed me to foods that I would otherwise never even knew existed or wouldn't know where to find in a grocery store and would never prepare that now I do. And let's see, it made me feel really very, very proud of myself to finish that program. Maybe because I failed the first time around. But I felt proud of what I looked like because I was like a lean, mean machine. But I also was just really proud of some of the internal changes. It was a spiritual thing for me. Not saying, maybe because I allowed it to be. Maybe it wouldn't be for you, but it was a spiritual thing. It was a psychological thing. It was emotional. It was physical. And I liked who I became in all those aspects because of the reset. So that's a little bit about how I felt. I want to talk about those 3 phases really quickly. Actually, let me come back to that. I needed accountability. So I had one coach, Kristen, who was 1 day ahead of me. And that helped me. And I had one coach, Jen Embers, who did it with me. That's all I needed. I needed them. I needed those ladies. I needed both of them. And I don't think I could have made it without both of them. I also made myself accountable because every single day I posted all 3 meals on and snacks. I posted everything on my social. So I felt accountable to more than just Kristen and Embers. I felt accountable because I was telling people I was doing it, that was super helpful. So as a tip for you guys, if you decide to do this in September or anytime, you will want to be accountable. In some ways, I'm making it sound like it's so hard. In some ways it is so hard, but in some ways I find it also easier than the 21-day fix, because you don't have to make any choices. You don't have to keep track of any containers. You don't have to keep track of where you're at with that. In some ways, I promise, it's easy. It's like paint by number. Go to the grocery store, buy these things for 1 week, cook these meals. Done. It's in some ways like really easy, but it's also really hard. Okay. You are allowed to have vegan Shakeology on it. Vegan Shakeology saved my life. I traveled, which I don't recommend, but I was gone for 3 days. I had a certification in Eureka, California. I was gone. I packed 3 days worth of meals. And I stayed at someone's house, and they were like making tacos and serving red wine and offering it to me. And I had a cooler in the back of my car, and I was like, I can't do it. It was really hard to travel. So I recommend trying to not travel. But if you have to travel, you can make it work if you plan ahead. I had to spend an entire half of a day, 2/3 of a day in the kitchen just to be able to travel, because I had to prep like 9 meals. Or however many it was. You're really not supposed to exercise on the Ultimate Reset. I didn't. So I would teach my classes. I let my classes know I was doing a cleanse, and that it was also supposed to reset my musculoskeletal system, and that I wasn't to be doing anything at an all-out intensity for 3 weeks. Whatever. They understood. They were cool. I would do 1 power jump. And then I would modify, and I would stand there and watch their form and coach them. That was no big deal. The only time I broke that rule is when I had those certifications. So there were 2 days where I did work out, which was against the rules. But I do want to say, if you're doing the Ultimate Reset, back off of exercise. You can do yoga, you can power walk, you can do moderate exercise, but reset your body. When you're injured, Mark's injured. It is a great time to do the Ultimate Reset. If you get sidelined with an injury and you're like, I can't work out, do the Ultimate Reset. Channel your energy into that. Let your body heal. It is expensive compared to it has a higher price point compared to any of our other programs. So, people are invested. That helps them in a way succeed, but it is a couple $100. Maybe it's $159 for us. Someone can correct me or put it in the chat bar. I'm sorry, I didn't do that research before I got on. It's not a tremendous amount of time in the kitchen. I mean, I probably spent 30 minutes, tops an hour, really 30 minutes per, a day, not per meal, per day. You read the tips in there in the book. There are tips that tell you how to, if you're going to have, if you're going to do beans and rice with this meal, you're going to have them the next day with dinner. Make a double batch because you'll use them at lunch the next day. So if you read the tips, it's not a lot of prep. If you're not working out, I promise you'll spend less time in the kitchen than you are doing you know, insanity. Well, maybe comparable amount of time. So it's not going to be a huge amount of time in the kitchen, which is what I thought it was going to be. There is something in the Ultimate Reset called Reset in a Crunch. So I didn't do it because I was like, I'm not cheating. It's not cheating, but I was like, I want to do it exactly right this time. I want to follow every single, like, by the letter. So I didn't do the Reset in a Crunch, but there is a Reset in a Crunch, meaning, let's say you don't have a certain food item, or you can't stand tempeh and you're just not going to do tempeh. You can do the crunch option, and you're still going to fit that phase, which I'm going to talk to you about in just a second here. Let's see. Just making sure I'm hitting all my points here. Oh, there's supposed to be an unreset. Like, you're supposed to sort of like come back. Thank you, Mark. $150 for full kit for coaches. Okay, he typed it in the chat. You guys, check out the chat bar. Refills are cheaper for second time through. Right. Okay, so you're supposed to sort of wean your way back. And one of my coaches, Megan, she just finished the Ultimate Reset about 3 weeks ago. And I saw her for lunch, and she said, I think I'm going to just stay vegan. She's like, I don't know. I finished the reset and I just have no desire to she's like, I have no desire to eat meat again. And I've never felt better in my life. So I'm not saying that should be your goal, but it is a possible outcome. It didn't happen to me. I was like, I'm ready for meat. But there is that second phase where you're vegan in that week 2, you're vegan. And I'm telling you, it felt incredible. Like, I loved week 2. All right. So let's talk about the phases really quickly. And then I'm going to show you the food. Reclaim, that first week basically is you're gradually reducing meat and dairy in week 1. Reclaim. And then there are some supplements that go along with it. So Power Greens, Mineralize, Optimize, and Smooth in week 1. And I was going to go into detail on that, but I won't for the sake of time. Week 2 is Release. That's a gentle colon cleanse and digestive support. And you are fully vegan in week 2. And the food is super delicious in that week. Well, in all of the whole reset, but particularly I loved that week 2. Week 3 was harder because there was just less food. So in Release, I was reading today in preparation for this call that it says, although the Ultimate Reset is gentle, you may find you're releasing from more than just your digestive tract. Some people experience skin breakouts, while others find themselves releasing toxic emotions or dropping negative habits they've been holding on to. So it's where I really felt like I was starting to shift into this just mode of gratitude. Just like, I to this day, that's how I begin every day. And I'm telling you, it started in this process. Week 3, Restore, is about just getting even more and maximizing the efficiency of your digestion, extra phytonutrients, enzymes, pre and probiotics, cutting back way more even still on grains, and you're basically eating just fruits and vegetables in week 3. Week 3 reminds me of the 3-day refresh. Any of you guys who have done the 3-day refresh know that you're kind of hungry on the 3-day refresh. Sherry just did it. You're kind of hungry on the 3-day refresh. It's not a ton of food. It's like healthy fats and fruits and vegetables. And the protein shake. So the last phase of the reset is very much, to me, it very much feels to me like the 3-day refresh. So, okay, in closing almost, let me just show you, I guess I don't need to show you that, the box, what's inside the box. You guys can see that online. Let me show you. Can you guys still hear me? Jelly, can you hear me when I'm screen sharing? Okay, because my Zoom has been weird lately. So this is like the first breakfast. And again, for being someone that didn't like a lot of breakfast, this was a lot of food. Let me go through these fairly quickly. This is kind of a classic lunch. I never got good at miso soup. I never once made it taste good, so I don't know. You had salmon, so this was in that first week. Remember, you're getting rid of meat and dairy. So there was like one meal with salmon and one with chicken. Here was another big breakfast. It was like yogurt and oatmeal. Another typical lunch, dinner. That was delicious. I had never made sushi before, but those were like sushi rolls with tempeh and everything. I was like, I don't even know who I am at cooking like this. I plated my food really beautifully, and I like really worked on taking beautiful photos because I didn't just do this for my body and for my mental health and my spiritual health. I also did this for my business, you guys. I wanted something new for my business. Leona and I were chatting today over Voxer, and we both shared the sentiment of, you know, we're willing to try new things, and we're really willing to work, and we're willing to do something different. And part of me doing the reset was I want something new for my business, and I want this in my toolbox, and I need to own it and be authentic about it, and I have to do it well. But photographing things well, I mean, these are beautiful photos. I made sure they were well lit. I made sure I wasn't in Amber's dungeon basement. I took 40 pictures of each freaking plate, and then I picked the best one. I tried different angles. And that there are Shakeology recipes with like water and cinnamon and chia seeds that saved my life. Another classic lunch. That soup was to die for. I'm almost done, you guys. Kind of. I should speed up. Again, I put this in here for comedic relief because my dog is adorable, but Shakeology, vegan Shakeology on the reset. I couldn't have lived without it. Microgreens and roasted pumpkin seeds became like my favorite things in the world. Food became more flavorful. I put this picture in there because look how skinny I was, and that was only halfway through it. I was already dropping. I was getting shredded, which made it easier for me to be motivated to stick to it. Every day that I went into it further, I was more motivated to see it through to completion. You really get this sense of like 7 down, 14 to go, you know, 8 down, 13 days to go. It was exciting. That was a video. These are all screenshots because you guys know some of you know I went from a Samsung to an iPhone. I lost a lot of my photos. Well, anyway, I think I could retrieve them. But so for me to find these pictures, you guys, I just scroll back to my Instagram and screenshot everything. So anyway, this was literally a cooler full of meals. So another classic lunch. Oh, so I plated them. Okay, so when I did that trip, I plated all the food. I would cook it, plate it, take photos of it, and then stick it in Tupperware and put it in a cooler. And I told you I spent half a day because I traveled out of state during the reset, but I literally took the time to plate and photograph every meal, even though I was going to be traveling with it, and it was kind of gross by the time I ate it. I just kind of got clever. Like I just tried to make my photos beautiful. This picture, I stuck it in this quick slideshow because I remember, you guys, I felt when I took this picture, I felt so good. I felt so good. That's me again making crappy miso soup. Okay, that's me at the end. Tiny. I put this picture in here just to say I'm basically the same size as that can of hairspray. Let's see, that was in the breakfast. I thought that tea. Such good food. I thought that one was at the end. Oh, that was a fennel bulb. Never had a fennel bulb. Couldn't find it in the store. Finally found it. I pretended it was steak. That was an amazing salad. That was what part of that was a transformation photo. And then that was it's like tiny, like I lost a ton of weight, and I don't know that that was my goal, but it just was a natural byproduct of, you know, taking such good care of myself. So good. We kept it to half an hour. So in closing, and before I open it up to questions, because I didn't address a lot of the like frequently asked questions that come up with the Ultimate Reset. I'm sure that there are a million questions. They're actually a really nice section of FAQs in the back of the Reset book, but I've read them all, so I could probably answer them. Like, for example, they don't want you to chew gum. I will tell you that I did drink coffee. Coffee is not recommended because they're trying to reset the alkalinity of your body, and coffee is acidic. But I'm such a major migraine sufferer. You guys don't really probably know that because it's something I try not to just dwell on in my life, but I'm a major migraine sufferer. And that was the one thing I was like, I'm going to drink a cup of black coffee in the morning, and it's not recommended, but it's not like taboo. So anyway, there's a lot of frequently, you shouldn't do it if you're breastfeeding or pregnant. I'm happy to answer any of those questions you might have, either on this call or in our team page when I post the replay. But I did want to let you know that I've decided to do it again September 1st. It's the same time of year, that I did it last year. That's a great time of year to do the reset. I know Desiree, who's hopped on, I know she's done the Ultimate Reset. In fact, I think that she probably got the raw end of the stick, but we traded. Literally, this one I got from her because we traded for a bag of vegan Shakeology. I think I scored, but I was like, okay, I'll trade you. So I'm ready to go on the, and like I said, you just need like one or two people to do it with you. We have a team page. Sometimes I set Team Play Hard is the mothership, but there are offset groups. There's one for my Emerald coaches. There's one for my Diamond and Star Diamond coaches. There's one for Summit goers. There's one for our leadership retreat. And that's all for a certain reason. There's one for Ultimate Reset for any Team Play Harders and their customers. So we do have a support group. If anyone does the reset, like Rosa Juarez, she's like a grandbaby coach of mine. She's going to come to Summit, so you guys will get to know her there. I will get to know her there because I don't know her. She did the reset by herself. And she did it near when you did it, Jelliet, right? No, she did it near when Megan did it. So we do have a page where anytime you do it, you'll get support from me every day. Anyway, September 1st, I was going to do it. So the Darren O'Lean and Isabel Deichler, they recommend that we do the reset once a year and that you do the 3-day refresh every quarter as like a mini, as maintenance. So that's all I've got for you guys tonight. I wanted to talk about the Ultimate Reset. Throw it on the table. Take a look at it. If you have never thought about doing the Ultimate Reset, I would encourage you to give it some serious consideration. If you decide to do it, read the book. That's what I didn't do the first time. I didn't read ahead. Read ahead. Shop 1 week at a time. Make sure you have at least one person, and then live it out loud so you're accountable to your social media network. So that's all I've got for you. Let me open it up to either Q&A, or if